In this video, we're going to be discussing the Radial Array tool. Now, in previous videos, we discussed how to copy and paste and how to use the clone tool to duplicate objects in straight lines. But often, you want to duplicate objects in a circle. Thus enter the Radial Array tool. So if you're not in the Duplicate tools, go ahead and click on the Duplicate tab button over here in your toolbar, and we're going to go down to this tool right here, the Radial Array. Before we get started, however, let's select our geometry. I'm in my polygonal selection set, and I'm going to middle mouse click a box around my column. There we go. And now we're going to activate the Radial Array. Much like the clone tool, the first channel here, the count, represents how many copies of the selected geometry are going to get made. So I'm going to just kind of move my viewport down a little bit, and I'm going to click where I want the center of my array to be. Okay, now I have way too many. Let's bring this down to like 12 copies. Yeah, there we go. It's a little bit easier to see. So when you're activating the tool in the 3D viewport, where you click represents the center of the circle of copies that you're going to make. Notice that all of the copies are centered around this point. Okay, let's go over to our tool properties and analyze a couple of things that we got going on. First and foremost, the axes. This axis represents which direction in our 3D scene, which direction our 3D object is going to get duplicated around. Along the x-axis, you can see I get this result, kind of cool. Along the y-axis, now we're getting all the columns in a circle, and along the z-axis, we're getting something like that. So be aware of which axis of duplication you want to be on. I want to be on y. There we go. Okay, so we also have the start and end angle. Now, if we adjust the end angle, let's bring this down a little bit. Let's bring it down a whole lot. There we go. You can see that we're duplicating our 12 columns, but it's not going in a full circle. If we put this to a value of 180 degrees, it's only going to do a half circle. So we can control how many columns that we're going to make and how far in a circle they're going to travel using the start and end angle. Now, if I put this to 360, for example, and adjust the start angle to 180, now I have a half circle going in the other direction. So we can use the start and end angle to change pretty interactively where we want our columns to go. Now, on that note, if you look very, very careful, down here at the bottom of my original column, there is a little widget. That widget represents the start and end angle. Okay, so I can left click and drag that widget, and notice what I'm changing. I'm changing the start angle position over here, so I can interactively do it as well. There's two of them. Here's the other one that represents the end angle. So we have a ton of control of how our 3D geometry is going to get duplicated in the scene. Okay, now there's an offset as well. This offset is going to move our columns up and down. So if I wanted to make a helix, kind of a spiral staircase going up, I could just change the offset amount. So the Radial Array, it's a pretty powerful tool. I think you're going to find you're going to be using this all the time if you need to duplicate your geometry in a circle. So that's the Radial Array.